Yeah, so I figured out the problem with this thing. All right. Turns out it wasn't connected to Bluetooth. The Bluetooth was off, so it wasn't connected to the phone. It wasn't the battery. It was that because I noticed this morning the Bluetooth thing was out. Oh, that's why it didn't work. Well, you live and you learn. So we are back with the second of the three Librarian films. The Librarian, Return to King Solomon's Mines. And I remember this one being one I watched more than the other ones. Because it was on more than the other ones. I mean, they played this one. They played them both back to back, but I seem to remember finding this one on more than anything. And yeah. So there's a couple of things that I got wrong. It seems that Nicole was the only guardian that he had. Because Emily, which is Gabrielle Anwar's character in this movie, is not a guardian. She's a woman that he meets. She's researching the King of Sheba, or the Queen of Sheba. I always thought it was Shiva, but that's two different things. The Queen of Sheba, and he is searching for King Solomon's mines. So they just sort of, she insists on going with him, and it's one of those things where, he has a certain amount of degrees, she has more, and they're constantly arguing. It's one of those kind of relationships, but it's one of those, going back and forth, arguing type things where they end up, situation. Again, I'm trying to get hang on. I don't know. Those guys ain't gonna do it. My mouth gets dry, and then I want to. So, the librarian returned to King Solomon's mines, takes Flynn Carson all over the place again, but on a quest to find the lost mines of King Solomon and the Key of Solomon, which is a book that will allow someone to travel through time. Yes. Yes, we see in this opening. We get to see Flynn, right, as he is on a mission to get the Crystal Skull. Hey, they did a better Crystal Skull movie before Indiana Jones. Again, bringing that curve. Also, time travel stuff too, and it works better in this movie than either of those, because they don't actually time travel. They just kind of, if they only talked about it and didn't actually time travel, I think it would work. But they didn't. They time traveled, and it's confusing, and you think it's gonna go one way and it doesn't, and whatever. So Flynn is on a mission with this Native American man who I immediately recognized as Crow Daddy. I just remember that name, Crow Daddy from Dr. Sleep. Great film. I think that's up for a revisit review in the future, I think. I redid The Shining, so to redo that. But I recognized him right away. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know he was in this. He's only in the beginning. I'm like, is he like the sidekick character? No, he's only in the beginning. So they sneak in, which is confusing because there's these guys, they have the crystal skull. It's going to do something. I don't remember what they said it would do. But, so they throw a rope over the cliff and climb down, right? They climb down the cliff and they grab the skull, and the Native American guy's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, go where? And they climb back up that you're lucky I didn't see you climbing down. Then I didn't see you coming back up again. But they don't go right away because Flynn finds an authentic Sioux arrowhead just laying there under a couple of rocks, and when he goes to get it, the rocks fall, people see him, it leads to a chase, and they end up jumping into a river, which I guess is weird because it's April, and he said it was supposed to be June when it was up, because he saw a certain plant That doesn't go anywhere. Because like, oh, April, And he goes back to the library and he brings the skull back to Judson. And we see more myths like a shroud of some sort, but also the trident of King Triton. So Little Mermaid is real, I guess. But yeah, he also gets some. Well, before this, we see someone with a package that he gives to a little boy to deliver somewhere. And we see Arakavari as our villain, Colonel Aziz, Colonel Samir. Colonel Samir, our villain for the film. Yes. Arakavari, great actor. Loved him in Stargate. He was good in this as a villain. He's also good as a good guy in things too. He's good in The Mummy. I thought, again, there's that Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich connection. They get him in here, Stargate. He's in a lot of Roland Emmerich movies, and I think, but I think he had a cameo in Godzilla. Now that I think about it, but yeah, he's the villain here, and yeah, so this thing is sent to Flynn. I'm gonna have some issues when we get there, but yeah, it's sent to Flynn. And that's where he has a fight with Excalibur because Judson has told Excalibur to go after Flynn every time there's like a training. He uses the trident and fights him off with a water analogy, which activates the trident, sprays him in the face with water. And Judson says, it's best not to use water analogies around say things about water around the King Triton's trident. Or is it Neptune's trident? I don't know, one of the two. I don't take notes. You know this. I go off to sit in my pants here. So, Flynn goes home. He's congratulated. He has the skull. Is all, But Judson says there's one of many times he says it. He goes, because he was going for the arrowhead. Again, an opening scene in a movie sets up things. He says, you must sacrifice what you want for the greater good. Which means they should have just left the arrowhead and went with the skull. Yeah. So he goes home to his mom's house. Apparently he's not living with his mom anymore. He has his own apartment, but he hasn't been there in a while. He goes to his mom's house because his mom wanted to see him. And it's his birthday, which is never mentioned at all. And Charlie and Judson don't get to go to a birthday party. But he's there. This is the one. So he's introduced. His mom tries to set him up again with his third cousin, which is Yui. I guess there's some sort of rule or something about second cousins being able to. I don't know if that's legal or if it's I don't know. I've never looked into it. I never want to. It's just weird. It's too weird. But when he goes in the kitchen, he meets his uncle, Jerry, his dad's best friend, previously unmentioned, who is there for a birthday party and gives him a special book thing that has pictures of his dad in it. This is our first mention of his dad. Apparently his dad was also an archaeologist. What do you know? Not mentioned in the first film at all. We just sort of invented that for this film. But yeah, we're introduced to Jerry because he becomes important later. Yeah. So Flynn goes home and immediately finds that his apartment has been ransacked. They're looking for the thing that was sent to him. However, I have a problem with this. How do they know it was sent to him specifically? All they know is that the guy gave it. It was gone. They didn't even know that he gave it to someone to send it somewhere. All of a sudden, they know where it is. Yes, when I revealed the twist, you went, "Oh, well, that's why." But how did that person know? It's confusing. This uses this one threw me off because it has the trope in movies of villain gets ahead because script says so, and this is one of those cases that villain just knows because script says they know. So they know Flynn has the scroll. He gets knocked unconscious. By the way, he said he hasn't been to his apartment in months, and he's got a cat the cat's probably starving. I mean, it's not his, and I don't know, but it's not in the conscious. And when he wakes up, Judson is there. Is he called Judson? And the scroll is gone. And when he mentions what's on it, Judson realizes it is uh, maybe uh, lead them to King Solomon's mines. And I love this exchange where he's like, "Isn't that just a legend?" And Judson goes, "Hello, like yeah, that's what you do, right? Legends, like like Excalibur, or as we'll find out in later summits, the Golden Fleece, all that stuff, real in the confines of the library." So yeah, but yeah, so he is sent on a mission to somewhere where there's a dig. I didn't pay attention to where they were sent. The subtitles on this were only in Spanish for some reason. I don't know why. It just was only Spanish. First one had English subtitles. What does this one have? This is a Sony now. Subtitles English. Okay. I like watching movies with subtitles. It helped me a little bit to read. My hearing's not so good. My sight's not so good either, but it helps. That's what I like to do. So, excuse me. So he meets Emily at this dig. She's digging, looking for something for the Queen of Sheba. He's trying to find out. And when he tries to tell her that he's from this place, like a archaeological society or something, she mentions someone, but she thinks she's making up. But it turns out it's the guy who owns the place, so she dismisses him. And then he sneaks in at night where she's there. And when it catches on that that's about Solomon, she decides to tag along. Yes. So they go on their journey, and on their journey, they find an African American man. They're in Africa, obviously. African American man buried up to his head in the sand because he stole something from the village. And then he said, when they freeze him, he goes, "Oh, I will take you back to my village. You'll be heralded as heroes." And I'm like, "But didn't you people from the village bury you there? I don't understand that." They're like, "No, we have to go." Fun's like, "Oh, women, But she's like, "No, we have to go. Have to keep going, And so Jomo says he's going to stay with them. And yes, Jomo is another thing where the writers are like, he has to show up because they needed. I don't know. I think Jomo was written into the script so that they can write themselves out of an issue later in the film because, yeah, that's what it seems like, although it doesn't really make much sense there either, but we'll get to it. So Jomo is with them, and they find that Samir is also on their trail because, like the last one, the villains just keep finding them wherever they go. And because they get to this place in Morocco, I think it is, and they tell Jomo, "You did your job. You got us here. That's good enough." He's like, "Oh, really?" "Yeah, fine." And they go to this shop where they find General Samir, but he's pretending to be the owner of the shop. And yeah, oh yeah, I forgot. They're attacked by someone who is actually, by the way, taken from Indiana Jones again. There's someone who is attacking him until he shows he has an amulet showing that he is a Mason. And then he said, "Oh, you are there to protect it." And like, that's freaking Last Crusade, hello. We're taking stuff from Indiana Jones. The bridge stuff from the last one, and now this one. Yeah. There's an amulet, and he shows it to Samir. Samir shows his from the guy he killed and took it from. And then it is eventually Emily who figures out what's going on, knocks him unconscious, and they find the little thing. It's a cipher. Again, there's another thing where he's got to figure out this. In the first one, it was the language of the birds. Now it's the cipher, which he does figure out, but he keeps her along she wouldn't be necessary, but he keeps her along because he likes her company, and they hook up, of course. And Judson comes to visit them the next morning, and once again explains, you must give up what you want for the greater good. And he's like, because they got it. They got, they got the stuff to find the key of Soloman. Okay, it's protected. Just come home. Just come home. It's done. But if they do that, the movie will be over. So, of course it doesn't. They're going to find it. And, yeah. So on their way out of town, they're running from General Samir, who of course just finds them for no reason. And as they are running, they happen to find, oh, who's this? It's Uncle Jerry. He just so happens to be there and is on a train going somewhere. So, my bot or something like that. So they hop on a train with him. Yeah. I think that's actually after. I think it's actually before Judson shows up. Because he has the thing. And yeah, I think this is... Because they're running from Samir there. From there. And then they find Jerry and jump on a train. I wonder why Jerry is there. Surely there could be some twist where he's the villain now. Could there? Nah. That wouldn't make any sense. What? Look. So, yeah, and then so they have it, they just leave. No, he's going to find it. So, of course, he does. And as soon as he finds it, Samir is there. Yes, Samir is there because convenience. Now, you could say with the twist coming up that they found him because, that. But still, I hate the trope of these movies where a villain has to find him because the script says so. That's literally what all this is, as the villain keeps catching up to them because script says so. They're like, you get away from someone, and then they find you when you're miles away, I didn't know where you're going. In this case, I could see, where they got it. Anyway, so it's revealed that they have Jerry held hostage. Yes, and Flynn immediately gives up the book because he hasn't learned the lesson yet. And it's revealed that Jerry's the villain. What? That's right. Samir works for him. Yep. And Jerry... Okay, this is the... So, of course, it's revealed that Jerry was the one who killed Flynn's father because he was in love with Flynn's mother and is going to use the book to go back in time and win Flynn's mother's hand instead of Flynn's father. It's stupid. But, yeah. So, he tells Samir to kill them, but do it slowly. So he put him in a tank filled with water. So they're about to drown. So, of course, this is where Jomo comes back out of nowhere. Wouldn't know where they were, at all. There's no way. Unless he was secretly following them the whole time. But they got on a goddamn train and went many, many miles. And somehow, Jomo is there to save them. It just makes no sense. Again, the writers, they wrote themselves into a corner, so they had to write Jomo into the script. Because otherwise, you take Jomo out, there's really no difference other than they're going to drown. Or you can not make Jerry the villain and have him be the one that saves them because he followed them from the train, which also makes sense. But they wanted to have Jerry be the villain, so they had to write Jomo into the script for it to work. I guarantee you that's what happened. Otherwise, Jomo doesn't really make much sense in this movie. He saves them, and then as they're making out a plan, Jomo just starts attacking, and they go in, and Flynn grabs the book from Jerry, but Jerry talks him into using the book to bring his dad back, and immediately he does it. Now I understand they try to show that this book has some kind of pull on people, like he can control them. He immediately starts doing it, and it's not till Emily uses uses a sword or a staff or whatever she's holding to make light go onto this and flash him in the face that it knocks him out of it, and he throws the book into this lava stuff that's in there, in the mines, prompting Jerry to jump in after it and get consumed by it. Yeah, and the whole place collapses, because of course it does, and the three of them get out. He gives Jumbo the amulet, and Jumbo is now the guardian of it. And they said their goodbyes. Now, he was in Casablanca. That's right, he was in Casablanca. That's where he went, because he quotes Casablanca at the end. I think they're going to go off together, but she has to go to another place because they found something that's connected to the Queen of Sheba. So they're going to leave, and she gets on a plane. And even though I've never seen Casablanca, I know the ending where Humphrey Bogart says, of all the gin joints in all the world, she had to walk into mine. And that's what he says here. Yeah. So he returns to the library. He tells them that the secret of Soloman is safe because the book is now destroyed. And it's revealed that Judson knew about the... Oh, by the way, while they were in the water and Flynn is drowning, he gets a vision of Judson on a beach flying a kite, telling him once again to keep going, not give it up. I don't think he actually mentions the line there, but tells him not to give up, and then to open his eyes, and that's when Jumbo saves him. And here, they're having a conversation, he's like, well, you chose to go for the greater good rather than your own personal, what you wanted, which is what he kept saying. And he's like, well, I had a bit, when I was drowning, I had a vision that of you on a beach. Did you have something to do with that? And he goes, I have no idea. I can do a lot of things, but appearing to you on a beach flying a kite is not within my power. He's like, I never say anything about a kite. Also, I want to point out that when he gets back, Charlene's like, I'm glad you're back. Yeah. And the movie ends. I'm going to give this a pretty good. It's another solid entry. It's just this one more than the last one. I think I do like this one more than the last one. It's when it was on most of the time. But it does have the most villains find them because the script says to cliche that action-adventure movies have. Like, they always keep catching up with them. Like, in The Mummy Returns, like, how do the villains catch up with them if the boy... No, that wasn't it, was it? It was... I don't remember. But... because the boy was with the bad guys, that's right. I don't know. But there's the action-adventure movies have that trope of villains have to keep finding them or else there's no villain story. It's I don't know. But the movie worked for me. Now, I surmise that I'm going to have more issues with the next one. Because I don't remember liking this one too much. I think I've only seen it once or twice. It's because it's a little more out there. I know what you're saying. Like what? The first one was the spear who stabbed, the spear of destiny. And it was about... This is about time travel. That was... something else, and then this was time travel, or that was time travel, and but that ultimate power in that one to take life, maybe even give it. They didn't go that far, and then time travel in that one. This one, what could be more outlandish than those? Vampires. So, what are your thoughts on The Librarian, Return to King Solomon's Mines? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.